Okay, so like we learned in 4.3, in function notation, f is a function of x. To evaluate a function from a graph, we are going to first find the x value, then look for the corresponding y value. We will come back to this max and min stuff. So on this first one, to find f of -5, I go to my x value of -5, which is right here, and then I go up or down to my graph. This one I have to go up. My corresponding y value is 2. I like to put a little dot on my graph. It makes it easier to not have to like go back and re-find it. For f of -2, I go on my x-axis to where x equals -2, find the corresponding y value. My y value there is -1. Last one is f of 3. So I go on my graph to where x equals 3, find my corresponding y value, so I've got to go all the way down here. My y value is -6. So we are just reading the graphs here. So we find the x value and find the corresponding y value. So they give you the x because it's f of x. You find the y. Okay, any questions about that? All right, let's talk about maximums and minimums. So maximums are your highest y value. Minimums are your lowest y value. We have a max or a min if you have a high point or a low point. If you are a straight line that goes forever, you do not have a max or a min. They're called relative maxima and minima. I didn't put all of that on there. But for this first one that's a straight line, it is neither. Okay. Moving down to our next one. Oh, and then I put on here, just to kind of introduce this to you, this is a linear function. It's a straight line. We've looked at linear functions. That's what all of Unit 2 is about. Next one of these is an absolute value function. Again, I'm just introducing the shape of these to you right now. Absolute value functions are V-shapes. That's just a thing that you should start knowing. F of -2, I'm going to go on my x-axis to -2, and then I go up to my graph. What is my y value there? 6. Okay, f of 1, I go on my x-axis to 1, find my corresponding y value, which is 3. I would recommend drawing the little dots on there so when you go back and look at your notes, you know where in the world you got these numbers from. F of 6, we go over to 6, up to 4, it looks like. Okay, this one does have a maximum or minimum. Does this one have a low point or a high point? Top of a mountain, bottom of a valley. High or low? So this one has a low point. So this one has a minimum. And it happens right there. And I drew that line because it's going to come over to right here. Our minimum is at y equals 1. So your minimum is always going to be a horizontal line. Horizontal lines are y equals. It's going to be y equals 1. Okay, any questions on that one? Okay, we're reading graphs. That's all we're doing here. The big thing you got to know is you find the x, go to the x, find the corresponding y. So this last one here, f of 0, is my x. I'm finding my y's. F of 0, I go on my graph to 0. I go up, crosses right there at 2. That one's a little bit hard to see. What is my f of 2 value? 6. So I go over to 2, up to 6. And then f of 3 is 5. Okay, does this one have a high point or a low point? High point, so that's a maximum. How high is my high point? 6. So my high point is y equals 6. Awesome. That's it. All right. I am going to stop this video. Bye, video.